Shots go, shake it up like any shots, make it smooth, let it pop, bounce it back, booty drop. These charts know you rock, shake it up like any shots, make it smooth, let it pop, bounce it back, booty drop.
Sub low, dance low, watch it flow on the floor. Ride the wave, music great, beat so tight, vibe feels right. Sub low, dance low, watch it flow on the floor. Ride the wave, music great, beat so tight, vibe feels right.
These charts know you rock, shake it up like any shots, make it smooth, let it pop, bounce it back, booty drop. These charts know you rock, shake it up like any shots, make it smooth, let it pop, bounce it back, booty drop.
So give me more, keep it stomping, bass is pumping, let it pound, feel the ground, body shaking all around. Shake the floor, give me more, keep it stomping, bass is pumping, let it pound, feel the ground, body shaking all around.
These charts know you rock, shake it up like any shots, make it smooth, let it pop, bounce it back, booty drop. These charts know you rock, shake it up like any shots, make it smooth, let it pop. Booty drop, the ground turn around, music pump and killer sound, limit drop, soda pop, on the move, bass drop, take a shot, hit the spot, hit the ground, turn around, music pump and killer sounds, make it smooth, let it pop, hit the ground, turn around, music pump and killer sound, limit drop, soda pop, on the move, bass drop, take a shot, hit the spot, hit the ground, turn around, music pump and killer sounds, make it smooth, let it pop. These charts know you rock, shake it up like any shots, make it smooth, let it pop, bounce it back, booty drop. These charts know you rock, shake it up like any shots, make it smooth, let it pop, bounce it back, booty drop.
Bass drop, body rock, shake it up like any shots. Ride the wave, music great, beat so tight, vibe feels right. Sub low, dance low, watch it flow on the floor. Ride the wave, music great, beat so tight, vibe feels right.
These charts know you rock, shake it up like any shots, make it smooth, let it pop, bounce it back, booty drop. These charts know you rock, shake it up like any shots, make it smooth, let it pop, bounce it back, booty drop.
So give me more, keep it stomping, bass is pumping, let it pound, feel the ground, body shaking all around. Shake the floor, give me more, keep it stomping, bass is pumping, let it pound, feel the ground, body shaking all around.
These charts know you rock, shake it up like any shots, make it smooth, let it pop, bounce it back, booty drop. These charts know you rock, shake it up like any shots, make it smooth, let it pop, bounce it back, booty drop.
So give me more, keep it stomping, bass is pumping, let it pound, feel the ground, body shaking all around. Shake the floor, give me more, keep it stomping, bass is pumping, let it pound, feel the ground, body shaking all around.
These charts know you rock, shake it up like any shots, make it smooth, let it pop, bounce it back, booty drop. These charts know you rock, shake it up like any shots, make it smooth, let it pop, bounce it back, booty drop. Shake the floor, give me more, people stomping, bass pumping, let it pound, feel the ground, body shaking all around. Shake the floor, give me more, people stomping, bass pumping, let it pound, feel the ground, body shaking all around. These charts know you rock, shake it up like any shots, make it smooth, let it pop, bounce it back, booty drop. These charts know you rock, shake it up like any shots, make it smooth, let it pop, bounce it back, booty drop.
So, hello, how are you this evening? What do I think happened to Summer? I don't know, honey. I'm not the police. I have many theories. Hey, Winged. I have a couple theories. Just like everybody else, I don't have true evidence in front of me to say what happened to Summer. I think for many reasons, there are many, many things that could have happened to Summer. Can I stand on one theory? No, but I would love if you gave me your theory and we can talk about it and see what my thoughts are on it or the chat's thoughts. Might be fun. I can't come out and say exactly what I think happened to Summer. I think there is a huge possibility she could have been trafficked. I think there's an even bigger possibility there could have been an accident, whether that be on her property with her family, or somewhere on Ben Hill Road, or somewhere else. I think there's evidence that suggests either or. Right. It's just hard. You can't tell really what happened to her, right? Like, I wish we had what the police and the TBI had. I wish the police and TBI would come up and out and up come out and update us, you know. But let me start off my live tonight. I had called this girl an hour ago. She was at the grocery store. She said she would come on my live. She does have 8 children. I'm assuming she has to cook for 8 children. Um, so I'm not going to rush her. If she calls and comes on, fine. If she doesn't, I'll call her back and we'll have her on another night when she has time. I don't want her to think I was rude, like, oh, can you come on at 8 and get her? But I did text her and let her know I understood if she couldn't. But I will have her on another night. I don't want to give her name because I want her to come on with a screen name, especially because she has my nieces and my nephew. So, but we are going to go over more of Prayer Garden. However, because I was rearranging my room a little bit and cleaning, I didn't get to watch the next hour. So I'm going to be watching it with you as if it's new. I really didn't like that I'm doing that, but I promised to come back this evening and do that. So that's what we're going to do next. Alrighty. And don't mind my neighbors next door outside playing. I can hear the kids. All right. Share this tab instead. We'll start and listen. I'll pause. I'm going to smoke my joint I rolled.
Have withstood what they did. He could not have withstood these people. He did what was righteous by talking to the ones that he needed to talk to, and that was the same ones questioning your daughter, law enforcement.
Yeah, and like my dad didn't ever bash anybody. He didn't ever do anything like that. That's why I've not got on so many channels. That's why I've stayed behind the scenes, because my name and everything about me has been dragged through the mud, period.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, everything. Everybody talks about me, how I'm terrible and I'm pushing a cart down the side of Beach Creek and with a baby stroller and I'm stopping people and this and that. People are out there slinging my name around like they ain't nothing. And I ain't nothing. No, I mean, I'm somebody, yes, but I'm not somebody that's high class and floozy and, out here spreading and gossip about everybody and hating everybody and this and that. The only reason I decided to get on your channel is because PG is that to clear up some few things, because yes, I am behind the scenes. Yes, I was up there. Yes, my youngin was up there, and no, I didn't steal no youngin, and I don't stand on side of Beach Creek and do stupid stuff like that. And they thought that they was going to run me out of the little town that I was raised on and raised up in, and they got another thing coming. I'm not going anywhere as long as
That's
there's
right.
breath in me. I'm not going
That's right.
anywhere.
Amen. Amen. But
And I mean, yeah, I'm having a little bit of trial and tributes right now,
but
and
you
yes,
have to
there's
watch your
people.
back. Always, you got
Yeah,
to be watching your back. You got to continuously watch your back. Because of this case right here. This case right here has done nothing but caused you nothing but hell, havoc, and misery.
I
From
can't get a
from
dog.
day
I
one.
can't go around certain people and tell them what my name is. I can't do a lot of things because as soon as I say my name, it's like, oh, you're part of the Summer Wells case.
Because Don and Candace Wells has turned your name into
I want to re listen to that because it started rather quick where I stopped it. And I don't remember any of these accusations being told on any channels. If anybody had heard them, can you tell me about them? Where have you heard that Marlena stole a pew pew? What did she say? I went back just a little bit. I'm sorry, guys. I want to re listen to it.
watch your back. Because of this case right here. This case right here has done nothing but caused you nothing but hell, havoc, and misery.
I can't get a
from
dog.
day one.
I can't go around certain people and tell them what my name is. I can't do a lot of things because as soon as I say my name, it's like, oh, you're part of the Summer Wells case.
Because Don and Candace Wells has turned your name into mud, like they have turned many other people's name into mud as well. And it's not
Yeah.
righteous. It's not righteous. I mean, you should have seen what they did to poor Mr. Dobbs, a man that shows up in there, bought a piece of property, just his luck. He shows up on the 14th, the day before. It was terrible. It was absolutely. As Wells has turned your name into so bad and was so mean to me and attacking me. And all I was doing is trying to, open their eyes to who and what the Wells were, to all of their bullshit. And I'm going to tell you, it was terrible. It was absolutely terrible,
That is
the way
that's
they
why
treated me. And I don't blame your dad for not coming out here, because that's what, and him being an older age, he couldn't have withstood what they did. He could not have withstood these people. He did what was righteous by talking to the ones that he needed to talk to. And that was the same ones questioning your daughter, law enforcement.
yeah, and like my dad didn't ever bash anybody. He didn't ever do anything like that. That's why I've not gone
Remember
on so many
this.
channels. That's why I've stayed behind the scenes, because my name and everything about me has been dragged through the mud,
Oh,
period.
absolutely.
I mean, everything. Everybody talks about me, how I'm terrible and I'm pushing a cart down the side of Beach Creek and with a baby stroller and I'm stopping people and this and that. People are out there slinging my name around like they ain't nothing. And I ain't nothing.
Okay, I've never heard that. Who said that she was pushing a cart down the street with a baby stroller, stalking people? Who said that? Can somebody say where that was said? And then the next accusation she makes is Dawn said she stole a gun. I don't remember Dawn ever saying it anywhere. Can anybody point me to that?
No, I mean, I'm somebody, yes, but I'm not somebody that's high class and floozy and, out here spreading and gossip about everybody and hating everybody and this and that. The only reason I decided to get on your channel is because PG is that to clear up some few things, because yes, I am behind the scenes. Yes, I was up there. Yes, my youngin was up there. And no, I didn't steal no youngin. And I don't stand on side of Beach Creek and do stupid stuff like that. And they thought that they was going to run me out of the little town that I was raised on and raised up in. And they got another thing coming. I'm not going anywhere as long as there's breath in me. I'm not going.
Who's trying to run her out of the town? That's an interesting statement, if true. I would like her to elaborate on that. I hope she does. Like I said, I didn't listen to the rest of this. We're going to listen about an hour, hour and a half. It depends on how much I yap. 2 hour live. Okay. Unless my friend calls me, then we might go a little longer. And if you hear my kids in the background, it's dinner time.
Anywhere.
Amen. Amen. But you,
And I mean, yeah,
but,
I'm having a
but
little bit
you,
of trial and tributes right now.
but
And
you
yes,
have to
there's
watch your
people.
back. Always, you got
Yeah,
to be watching your back. You got to continuously watch your back. Because of this case right here. This case right here has done nothing but caused you nothing but hell, havoc, and misery.
I
From
can't get a
from
dog.
day
I
one.
can't go around certain people and tell them what my name is. I can't do a lot of things because as soon as I say my name, it's like, oh, you're part of the Summer Wells
Because
case.
Don and Candace Wells has turned your name into mud, like they have turned many other people's name into mud as well. And it's not
Yep.
righteous. It's not righteous. I mean, you should have seen what they did to poor Mr. Dobbs. A man that shows up in there, bought a piece of property, just his luck. He shows up on the 14th, the day before they decide to carry.
I too, to a point, think that poor Mr. Dobbs could be innocent. But I too also have seen poor Mr. Dobbs play games with green eyes. The wife that came on drunk saying some strange stuff, which I got to find that recording. I want to go over that again. I find it odd, Prayer Garden, the amount of righteousness you act like Dobbs is. I'm not saying Dobbs is guilty. Please do not take that. But you go a little overboard with it, in my opinion, and it makes me wonder why. That's just my opinion. You can answer it. You don't have to. Hello, Marion. Hello, Tila. I said hello to Sue and Winged. Thank you for being here. But yeah, every live, poor Mr. Dobbs, poor Mr. Dobbs. Yeah, patterns. Extreme patterns. Prayer Garden has a lot of those bugs. Thank you for joining my chat. Okay.
Carry out what they had been planning to do with this little girl. He shows up just the day before, and I'm going to tell you, it was his bad luck because they done nothing but put this man through pure hell, and he was nothing more than innocent. Dudley, Don Wells goes to work driving a different vehicle. He fires Dudley just so he can send the police all over the place to Dudley's dad's house, and and the dad's calling.
Does Prayer Garden really think that that's how the police act that Dawn just tells them where to go and that's where the police go? Or do you think, PG, that the police ask him who has been around you and your children, who has been on your property, is there anybody mad at you? Because those are the questions the police ask, and then I believe they make their own decision to go talk to somebody. Dawn can throw accusations all he wants, but if you think the police are going to Dudley just because Dawn threw accusations, that's the furthest thing from the truth. They went to Dudley because Dudley was an enemy of Dawn from the day before. And he had been on their property with his car because they ride to work together. I think looking into Dudley is viable. Don't pour nobody nothing. This is about Summer, not poor Dudley, not poor Dobbs. Like I said earlier, your Summer's channel. Make it about Summer and nothing else. Yes, prayers for Summer. Okay. Let's continue.
Going up Dudley, and this Dudley guy who has a family, a wife and children and everything, Don Wells, keeps his money, doesn't give him his money that he honestly worked for.
I agree that shady as shit, but dude came out on Sheriff's panel, high as a kite. You're going to go on. I think I did listen to a little more because we didn't get as far as I wanted to earlier. So I did listen to an hour and a half, and we're about 52 minutes in. I remember a little bit of what she says coming up. She's going to go on to say Dudley's an angel, but Dudley has, since Summer went missing, gotten arrested for meth. Dudley has criminal charges in Louisiana and Tennessee. Am I saying Dudley's guilty? No. Do I think Dudley has done some shady shit? Yes. I think taking money from anybody. I don't like the interview that went on between him and Dawn. It wasn't about Summer. It was about male ego. They were fighting about who worked better. So go ahead. Continue. We're going to listen. I gave you my thoughts on it. I have nothing more to say unless something else comes out. Dawn should have paid Dudley. I agree. But Dudley's behavior afterwards, after Summer went missing, tells me that he's not the perfect angel you are portraying him to be. Just saying. Okay.
Don Wells, is trying to convince not only law enforcement, but everyone out here that, this man went and, took his daughter out of some vengeance because he fired him. No, you fired him so you could use him. You could use him on the 15th. That's why you fired him, is so you could use him as a culprit, as your scapegoat for what you did, get the focus off of you and onto someone else. That's what you did to this man, an innocent man who had a loving, kind family that was doing well, working and trying to, make the best of his life. And he screwed that family up too. I mean, this case totally messed this man's family to the point that, he's divorced now. He's divorced now. And, just one big mess. And it has done,
I do agree that Dudley's words are important. I agree that when Dudley says Dawn came to work distraught Monday, he tells you that Dawn called off on a day. We could go over that. His interview is interesting to the timeline of Summer going missing the days before and the things leading up. So I think what Dudley had to say is important, but I also think his demeanor was important. And I also think that Dudley said some odd things. We should go over that again really soon. Okay.
You're not the only victim to this. Many people are. Many people are victims to this. Many people are having all the same problems that you're explaining now.
But Prayer Garden, the main victim here is Summer. That's what's so concerning. You're out here and you're the people that the police would consider a suspect. The people that if they did not go question those people, your subs would be having a fit. You would be having a fit. The world would be having a fit for not questioning the people who would actually be normal suspects in any case. The people closest to Summer, the people that were around Summer, the people that fit into the timeline of Summer, the things that the people say, the way Dawn acted, the way they act, their criminal past. We find out Dudley's father has a criminal past of drug trafficking just by charges. You hear about the tie up in the hotel with the wiretapping. Or are you not paying attention or looking at all the evidence? Or are you just looking at a little bit of it? Because if Dawn, anybody who's a suspect, if Dawn and Candace's character come into play, so does the character of all of the other suspects. Their past, their criminal records, their family, anybody who would be wanting to harm Summer because they're mad at Dawn. It's very important that the police look at that. And I think you need to understand that. That's what I'm saying. You're a little off the rails when you talk and you lead your subs to believe that the police don't actually do their job, or that if they are doing their job, it's wrong. Because again, like I said, if they weren't questioning them people, damn, could you imagine the outrage? Because somebody ran into the past and they didn't question them. Please stop. The Dudley and them are being harassed. They're suspects. Very uncomfortable. That was something I want to point out. We definitely need to go over that. If I end this live early and any of you guys are up at like 2, 3 in the morning and I'm still awake, we could come live for a short live and just go over the Dudley thing. I think that's a good idea. We'll see. Or maybe I'll do that first tomorrow before I go over the next portion of Prayer Garden.
And, Don Wells, and they have put everybody under the bus like that. I mean, Wayne Morlock. Don Wells had adopted him.
No, Wayne Morlock, he is a.
Yeah, I want to talk about this too, but I also want to say I heard Marlena was on last night as well. I didn't see that, so I guess we'll be busy for a little bit. Here, an hour, hour and a half at a time, close to an hour, something like that, till we get through it all. It's interesting Marlena's coming out to talk now. I'm not saying it's wrong that she's doing so. I think it's good we get to know who she is. Because like she said, she was behind the scenes.
He's a crazy fool.
Oh, he's crazy. And he isn't somebody that Don Wells and Candace, after they threw Wayne Morlock under the bus, trying to make him look like a child predator and all of this, they ran over into Arkansas and hid their asses. They went and hid their asses because they were scared to death once they did that one. And then after they did that, when they got back into Tennessee, because, Don Wells was over at the hotel, he couldn't stay off the stuff and work a job where he's supposed to. So they called him back over into Tennessee. And when he got back there, he started picking on CPS. Then he started, trying to smokescreen and bullshit and gaslight everybody into trying to believe that, Child Protective Services came up there and kidnapped their daughter. Well, you know something,
First of all, I had brought Wayne Morlock out at least a year prior to Dawn ever talking about Wayne. There was an incident with Wayne and Dawn. From my understanding, the incident was Wayne went up there and asked for a ride. Dawn came to YouTube and turned it into some big thing. Somebody told me that. I can't remember who. I'd have to go look. But Dawn came to YouTube and made up a big story and then ran. There is no way in hell anybody could say that Wayne Morlock was a child heir. If you look at Wayne Morlock's charges, the only charges I was able to find on the man, I'm not saying there ain't more, maybe some in another county, I don't know him. But if the charges he had was he threw somebody out of a car because they touched him inappropriately, a dude. That's why Wayne went to jail. I highly doubt that dude is touching kids. So when Prayer Garden brings him up, that's just her bringing up somebody who was talked about in the past that they can start rumors about, in my opinion. Do I know Wayne Morlock? No, I spoke to him briefly. He thought I was somebody else in Messenger. He did accept a friend request from me on Facebook, but then I think he deleted it. However, I do know him and Renfro are close, and Renfro told me that the dude's like a teddy bear. I don't know. I don't know him, but it's wrong for her to do this when she's not showing the clips of what Dawn said and what was stated about this man, along with the newspaper articles as to why that man has a criminal record. And even though she's sticking up for him, it still makes people speculate and want to know more, and then it'll just dig up more shit and it'll just start more. Prayer Garden, what do you think that has to do with Summer? Do we know, even after that, when Dawn, you say, made the statements he made, do we know that the police questioned Wayne? Has anybody asked Wayne, have the police questioned you? Because that would be a question I would have for him more than this gossip that you're doing that has nothing to do really with Summer going missing, other than causing more confusion in her case. Just saying, that's my opinion.
Protective services don't have to kidnap anybody. They could have righteously took Summer out of there on the day she was born. They could have righteously removed all of them kids at birth if they wanted to.
They should have, because Candace had drugs in her system. I know Candace smoked pot with every. I know Candace smoked and drank with every kid she.
Where was that said? In this interview? Or did you hear Dawn say that out loud? I missed that. I haven't seen it. If that was really said, I'd really like to see that. GGGGG. Could you put it in one of my community posts so I can listen to it? I'd love to go over that with you guys. Dawn said that himself, or yes to this interview? We'll listen a little more. Just let me know. I'll put it out.
She had. So.
They said how many days before Summer went missing did you see her?
Well, I seen her on that Wednesday afternoon when they picked up my daughter. Was the last time I seen Summer.
Did your daughter tell you that she spoke to Summer on Friday before she came home?
Yeah, she seen Summer before she left because they were packing her stuff to get ready to leave.
Okay, so
that's why Summer didn't come with Grandma and her to bring her home.
Did you ever ask your daughter if Summer looked scared of them packing her up like that? If she looked happy? If she looked like she believed their BS or she didn't believe their BS? Your daughter?
My daughter says she looked like she was excited in a way, but then again, she looked like she was scared. So.
Right. Marlena, did you take the video of Summer sleeping on milk jugs, June 15, 2021?
No.
Do we know that there was truth to that? Did we see, remember when Benny put out the evidence list? And there was some evidence lists put out. I think you could find them on Reddit, actually. I'll go look. But I would like to see what the police took, because I don't remember a suitcase. However, that was days prior. We do know that people seen Summer. When is the last time before the 15th besides Allie and Hunter, that somebody's seen Summer in the public? That would be a good question for me, because the way Marlena goes on about this, for me, it's a little confusing. At first, when I looked at the calendar, it sounded like she said the week prior. We went over this earlier a little bit, but then her daughter was dropped off early the Friday before Tuesday. So Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, 4 days prior, Journey's dropped off. But we have also heard in the past that there was an accident at the Wells house that caused Journey to have to go home, and that Journey possibly broke a bone or something in them terms. Does anybody remember that? Can anybody find me clips of that? Because I'd like to compare where I heard that from to what Marlene is saying. I think it was when he was on the lab. Okay, I'll check those out. I have a lot of him on the lab, so he hasn't been on the lab in a long time. I should probably have it then. I'll listen. Maybe it's something I missed. Wow. Okay. Let's continue.
No, I did not.
Okay. She said no, she did not. Um,
I was at home when they brought my kid home.
she said she did not record no video on June 15, 2021. And, I'm going to leave it up to Marlena's discretion if she wants to tell you what did happen on June 15, 2021 or not. It's not my story to tell. It's her story to tell. If she wants to tell you guys what happened June 15, 2021, then she can. Did you want to tell them about that or not, Marlena?
Are you talking about when Summer called me, or not Summer? Candace called me at 4:30 that afternoon. It was on Facebook, and she had told me that she was in the kitchen cooking them kids something to eat, and Summer was on her swing, and she looked out the window and turned around to the kitchen sink, and Summer was gone. In most videos, you all have seen that Summer's swing is on that big old tree. And if you look at the window, that straight window that's from that tree to the side of the house there, on the tree is on the right hand side with the swing.
So something I think the police would have looked into is the phone records between Candace and Marlena, which is probably why the police took Candace's phone and took all the data off of it after 3:30, because people were telling them that Candace called around 4:30. You hear Jody say that's about the time she heard the scream. That's the same time they say Chad was in the neighborhood. You got to put everything together. Who all was there? Who heard the screams? Who got the phone calls? I'm going to cut this portion. Maybe I won't be live again tonight. I think I'm going to cut this portion, and I'm going to go look for the little pieces of things people said happened. Now, something I want you to keep in mind, that I keep in mind, is that when you listen to the TBI, they say in the early afternoon. Now, I did the research, like I did ChatGPT, but I did other research, and everything that I read stated that in the early afternoon means before 2 o'clock p.m. However, they took the three, maybe Leslie misspoke. That would be a question I would have for the TBI to clear up, because that's part of the timeline, even though they can't discuss the timeline, which they said in their interviews several times. We're almost 4 years out. They need to come out and tell us, is the case cooled? Where are they at? I think it's time that they let tiny details out so that some of the speculation stops. That's just my opinion on it. I'm sure there's reasons why they don't, and that's none of my business. But the human in me on the other side, behind the scenes here, that's been waiting all this time and covering this case, wants me to say, hey, I want you to come out and tell us something. I don't find that they give Summer enough attention, and that bothers me. I feel they quit very early on in the search, giving details. However, the one thing I heard, and it was a turning point for me, was when they came out and they did their press conference. And in that press conference, they said, we are now looking into the criminal aspect. We're still looking into the search, but we're scaling back and we're more focused on the criminal aspect. That tells me that something in them tells them something was amiss criminally. They also say maybe a bear got her. They can lie to the media all they want to keep people away from calling and questioning. But the whole fact that they emphasized we are now investigating the criminal aspect of this bothers me. They haven't arrested Dawn and Candace. There has to be a reason for that. They haven't even charged Dawn and Candace with child endangerment. Why? On Lips, she said she called at 7:30. I have Lips clips. I'll look and see. I'm not going to play him because she'll strike me because she's a bitch. But in my opinion, sorry, I'm speculating. Lips is a bitch. But what I'm going to do is I can type it out in a transcript, and we can transcript them. I'll go check that out. I have Lips saved. That's interesting. Okay, look at me jibber jabber. We didn't even get 10 minutes into this live yet.
The left-hand side, that window that's in the middle right there towards the end, that is the kitchen. If you stand in the kitchen at the stove or at the sink or whatever, right there in that one little area, you could see if somebody snuck up on that hill to get her, like they said she did. And she knew better. Like I said, I'm going to repeat this one more time. Them kids knew better to go off of that hill at any point in any time. Okay, at 4 o'clock, she calls me and tells me Summer is missing. I tell her, I said, well, how long has she been missing? She said, maybe 20 minutes or so. I said, well, call the police. If not, I am calling them. And she said, well, I'm going to get off here and call them and I'm going to look for Summer some more. I said, okay, well, let me know if you found her. Well, she didn't. So, and then the story came out that Dawn said that he drove from Jonesboro to Beach Creek in like 20 minutes or so. No, that's not possible. That is not possible at all. There's too many curvy roads. There's too much going on at that time. You're not going to get from there at 3 or 4 o'clock.
Now, I think it was on Jays for Justice. Some other locals had said that too, that there's no way Dawn could have done the 80 miles around the bends where they were. So this is like one of those things where I would say earlier, I feel like Marlena's telling half truths, just like everybody else. That's just my opinion. We haven't listened to the whole interview. I haven't listened to the next day. I haven't compared it to things she said in the past to see what has changed. But other locals have said that there is no way in HE double hockey sticks that Dawn could have got from Jonesboro to where he was in the 20 minutes or so. Now, let's remember at the beginning of this, something I found interesting was that it was reported, or Dawn had said that he had called 911 at 5:30, threw his tools in the truck, and then it came out that the call came out at 6:30. He was already home by 7. How you already know months and months in, you've been beaten into, they've questioned you. My question would be, how do you forget in 30 minutes how long the call was before you left? Do we really have a timestamp? Has anybody ever pulled the 911 calls or the dispatch calls? Because I didn't. From, what is that, Washington County? That's what somebody should have done, was pulled that dispatch call of Dawn calling 911. You would have gotten the dispatch. You wouldn't have got anything else, just like we did when Summer went missing. But I find it interesting still to this day, the timeline switch right there, especially when Marlena and a lot of people were saying that Candace started calling people about 4:30. Between 4 and 4:30. I mean, it just adds up with a lot of things people were saying. In my opinion, you can let me know what you think in the chat.
Still with the school buses running and all that within 20 minutes. You're not going to do that. So therefore, the case. Also, I heard one 911 call say that she went for a walk. That Huzzy never went for a walk. Candace, aka Candace, she never walked anywhere. She always rode somewhere, whether it was on a mini bike, in a vehicle, whatever. She never walked anywhere.
Absolutely. And Allison said,
But the thing that would be different that day is that if there was an accident with Summer, would she have walked somewhere? Dawn came out stating after Candace was in an interview, he was upset. It was the same day they did the lie detector. Candace passed the lie detector. Later on, he did another news interview, and he said they're accusing Candace of leaving the property twice. Was she driving? Was she walking? We do know she left 2 times. According to Dawn, in that statement, not to the police. It's speculation off of what the father of Summer Will's father said.
that she didn't that she kept a pillow in the car because she was too lazy to go to the bathroom. She'd piss on the pillow. There was a pissy pillow that was in that car.
Summer's channel. You're here for Summer. It's not a fun night. It's not a night where you're in drama. It's a night where you have a local on nobody's really heard from because Lips chopped her interviews up so horribly. And you want to talk about a pissy pillow. Per Gordon, instead of a church as your profile picture, can we put Summer's Amber Alert picture, the updated one? Because you're no saint. This right here proves that. Please quit being a Christian hypocrite, in my opinion.
From what
There was always trash that fell out of the vehicle. You couldn't even get in and out of it. You could not never get in and out of it without the trash falling in and out. The car seats, half of them didn't even have covers on them. Half of them wasn't even buckled in half the time. If I wasn't there and I didn't make sure everything was buckled in and cleaned up before we left, it was an embarrassment.
Amen. Amen. Marlena, do you know Andy B and Fred Hill?
God Almighty, I know Mr. Fred Hill. Yes, I do. Whoever asked that, and he's not a cork in the corkscrew kind of dude. He is. I'm not bashing anybody. This ain't about bashing anybody, but he's got some trials and tribulations of his own that he needs to work out. Let's put it that way. And Andy B,
I agree. And I hope further in this live, we go into the resurrection and why you all have the same script. That's bothersome to me.
I don't know too much about him. I've met him like once, maybe twice. They probably still don't even know what I look like to this day. But it's just awful funny that all of them was together at that point in time that, Summer went missing. So somebody knows something.
Amen.
Fred Hill knows something. Fred Hill knows something. Andy B knows something. Whatever her name is, Andy B's old lady, she knows something. They know something, and they're covering up for each other.
I agree. I have to agree with you. God bless. I do agree. Did you ever see Donwell showering with any of the children?
Yes, multiple times.
So he did shower with the kids, you guys. She's, True said yes. She says yes. Jody Sue said yes. I mean, so many people, so many different areas, all agreeing.
When you get a collaboration of people that say yes, they seen Dawn shower with the kids. But here's the more important thing. Dawn admitted to showering with the kids. Does anybody remember that interview? Dawn said Candace would come in, give him the boys. He would shower. Candace would take the boys out because of the way their bathroom was set up and the way their water and septic was. It was just easier to bath with the boys. Dawn definitely said that he bathed with the kids live on Cher's channel. Yes, concerned citizen. She has nothing but bad things to say about C&D, but allowed her daughter to stay. But she said, right, that's what I'm going to get into. That's something I don't like, A-Dub. You're correct. I'm glad somebody else remembers that. I'm going to smoke my other half a joint here. I'm going to shut my camera off.
On that one for sure.
Can we go back a minute?
Sure.
Can we go back a minute? Okay, when I was talking about the swing and standing there in the kitchen or whatever, them dogs, there was I know there was at least, I know there was like two mothers and maybe a male or and maybe one male or maybe two males, and then they had a litter of pups or whatever. If somebody came sneaking up on that hill and they would have tried to get Summer, them dogs would have been standing around Summer and out from Summer, barking and raising hell if somebody tried to sneak up on that hill, or if anybody ever got close enough to them kids, because them kids fed them and them kids took care of the dogs, so they had chores they had to do. So them dogs.
So we hear Marlena say that Dawn and Candace made the kids do chores. That's a good thing. I think all children should have chores. I also agree that many people said the dogs would have barked, but we hear Dawn say the dogs weren't there. However, when the police came, they had to lock the dogs in Grandma's car because the search dogs couldn't look. So that tells me that the dogs had to get back there between that time and that time. I believe the dogs were there. I think the dogs were there. That's why I lean a little more towards the human around the world thing. I'm trying to keep it clean. Because if Candace gave Summer to somebody, or if it was somebody who met Candace halfway, or somebody Candace knew was coming, like, oh, let's say this. You know what I'm saying? What if there was, to me, it sounds like if the dogs were really missing, there was some sort of preparation. We also hear Jody Sue say her dogs were missing and they came back smelling like hay. Anybody remember that? My theory is they locked the dogs in that shed for a day. Yep, and Dawn had to go home and let the dogs out. Smart. I didn't even think of that, but yeah, that could very, very well be. Absolutely. I don't think this is random, well planned out. It seems well planned out to me. That's my opinion. Whether that be with Dawn and Candace or just Candace or the neighborhood, when you have a whole group of people all going, we'll see you Summer and the resurrection, and this is what Dawn said, that's elaborate. And why would Dawn say that to anybody when he's searching for his child? And then why would Dawn come to YouTube and say, oh, yeah, I said that? First interview. His first interview was with J4. He said that. That's disturbing to me. That's one of those things that make you go, oh, maybe. That's why I lean towards the trafficking.
Would have raised hell until somebody would have got somebody's attention. And where Grandma was sitting at that time when it was told that she was fixing her knee brace and making a flower garden, there is no flower garden there. There's never been no flower garden there because it's all nothing but rocks up on that hill, for one. For two, where Grandma and her was sitting to fix the knee brace, if she went out the basement door, they would have been able to see her. And three, if there was somebody coming up on that hill on that side from the basement door, and
I so wish my first channel I didn't take it down. Do you all remember when I did that video where I showed there's no possible way you could not have seen that dog trail in that basement door from where Dawn was standing? I even took Dawn's video and showed that that was untrue because you could see it in Dawn's video how the angle comes up. However, coming from the bus trail or just a little bit over from the other corner of the house where the swing is a blind spot. You would not be able to see that from that angle of the house. You would be able to see it from the door, the front door, or whatever, the door that goes down to the driveway, but you would not be able to see it from the corner of the house. That would be a blind spot that they can come up from that side and go into the door that nobody would see. So that's something you have to keep in consideration, and it makes me curious because Cam showed that trail. They made a big deal out of the dog trail, but could it be that the dog trail connected? They say the dogs hit at the driveway. It hit on the dog trail and it hit at the driveway. Does it connect to the bus? To the bus trail? Is there a way to get through there? That's what I would like to see if Dawn or anybody would ever like to show it. that would be more curious to me because that is a blind spot of the house, in my opinion. I've never been there, but looking at stuff, I would think that would be a blind spot. You don't think this is random? Oh, yeah, we already did that. Okay.
and all that, they would have been able to see them. That's what people don't understand. The way that hill is laid out up there, I don't know if Miss PG, if you've been up there or not, but the way that hill's been laid out up there is nobody can get around that hill because it's a horseshoe and everybody can see. It's on top of a hill. Everybody can see everything that goes on from up there on that hill. You can even stand up on that hill and watch the main road that goes up and down Beach Creek without nobody even knowing that you're standing there. But I'm saying you're not going to miss nothing because you're up on that hill, and everybody has to come up, not go down or sideways. You got to go up the hill to get to that house. So therefore, if anybody snuck around up there or whatever, them dogs would be raising Cain. Outrageous. They wouldn't have got by grandma and mama because them dogs would have been raising Cain. And like I said, she would have never went out that basement door by herself and down the hill because she knew better. The only way she got to the bottom of the hill is if somebody had took her down to the bottom of the hill with their hand and holding their hand and making her go. That's the only way that she would have went.
Some Nicole says, Marlena, did you see Candace abusing Summer? Yes. Marlena has seen Candace and them be mean to those children. Yes. They also asked, did you ever see Summer tugging at her business? Did you ever expect that she was being possibly essayed?
Oh, the few times that I was up there, she never tugged at her crotch or anything like that. No.
Okay.
Now,
I'm glad Marlena said that. Listen, I've said this in the past. Maybe it's just me because I don't cover my stuff that way or I try not to. It's okay to say things, ask a question, move past it, but to keep talking about it and critiquing it, and you're re-victimizing Summer on what you call as Summer's channel. Do you realize that? If Summer was touched in that way, the way you speak about it is re-victimizing her every single time you do it. Let's say Summer is found alive somewhere. A miracle happens. And that she has been being SA'd this whole time. How many more times on top of it did you put it just by speaking like that? Prayer Garden, Miss Christian, whatever religion you are, you have a Christian church. On your picture with snow like winter. Miss North America, Pittsburgh, Glassport, Pennsylvania, in my opinion. We're going to find out who you are for sure. The feds already know. You need to quit playing games. Quit re-victimizing that baby. I wish one would talk too, Sue. They never allow their face. Was it even her? And zero proof. I agree. It's about the back room deals and the back chat deals. Trolls everywhere. I laugh. Absolutely. Okay.
now the one I was supposed to got, he was more of the how you say it, tempered wise, like when he didn't get something or somebody told him no or tried to discipline him, he would like get mad and throw things like he was trying to defend himself off because you had raised your tone at him. Like he was trying to like projectile like the meanness that has went to him, he was trying to project it elsewhere. If that makes sense. Like he was like me, like if you told him no or just any kind of way of just he had a lot of anger issues.
I didn't.
Right.
That way.
Right. And that was the youngest boy.
Like he had PSD. You know what I'm talking about? Like when you've been beaten and all that. You know,
Right.
he had symptoms of it. Now that I look back since I've had it, I've got it. I've got depression. I've got all kinds of different things because of certain things that's went on in my life, and certain things will trigger me, and certain things will make me totally angry and out of control easily than others.
So I'd like to go over a very old video that came out and hasn't been talked about much since, and that's the Ferris wheel video. Because in my opinion, I'm not going to go over it because you're talking, maybe I will. I don't know. I got to think on it, how I would go over it without being offensive. I do believe that, in my opinion, the oldest son could have had anger issues. Why I believe that is because on that video, he was cussing. They were laughing about somebody knocking Summer down. And it was just a very awful, vulgar display of what Don Wells allowed his children to speak like. That's concerning to me. No, we're not supposed to accuse the kids of doing anything, but listen, my brother was 15 when he performed a home invasion with 3 other boys, and they shot and killed a man. He was 15. Josie was about to be 14. There's a little boy here in Pittsburgh around the time my brother did it. I'm sure you all have seen the news reports. 11-year-old in the back, pewed, pregnant stepmom because he was jealous. Things happen with children when children are going through abusive situations. Is that something I believe? No. Here's what I believe. I believe the investigators have questioned those children, and we would have answers for Summer if they did anything or they knew anything. I believe the children don't know anything. I believe there were some lies told. In my opinion, I believe they didn't even see Summer, or there was no, can you watch Summer in the basement? That's just my opinion. Them specialists are amazing. They know how to question them kids. And it got to a point where here in Pittsburgh, they call them children's voice. The attorneys, the liaisons is what they are. They'll come in and they will protect the child when they feel the questioning is too much. Those are the attorneys that the police talked about being involved, and Candace talked about being involved. But the whole YouTube would have turned around and said, oh my God, Candace hired attorneys, when they told us in the same interviews what kind of attorneys they were. Who's Maddie? Cons 100%. I don't know who Maddie is. I'm sorry, Lenny. YouTube legal department. What are we enjoying too much? I'm a little confused. Do we have the trolls tonight? I thought Josie was 13 going on 14. Yeah, you know how I do. Ignore the trolls. Have fun. You guys know my MO here. We keep them around for entertainment. Want a link? Mr. Legal Department. Since you're the legal department, here, I'm going to throw you a link. And you can come tell us all about YouTube's laws. Or why you think we're enjoying what. What exactly are we enjoying? Because YouTube legal department, if you think I enjoy missing children, no, I don't. And I don't enjoy watching Prayer Garden do what she's doing, and that's why I'm out here giving my opinions on her. But you're welcome to come grab a link and give your opinion, as long as you can be respectful. The next bad comment you make, you get 1 strike now. I'm blocking you. We're not doing that here no more. Okay. All the time, innocent, you know that. I think it's kind of funny at this point. I really do. And you know I like to play with my trolls. So, alrighty.
And
So
he seemed to be showing the same signs of having that going on as well.
yes, he did. Now Josie, that's the oldest one, right? I can't remember all of them names.
Yeah,
Josie's
yeah.
waving. And
Josie's the oldest one.
now Josie got everything he wanted. He was patted on the head like a good boy. Like everybody's seen in the video of them making the tape about Summer being missing from the church, how he was tucked under his daddy's wing. He went with
Right.
daddy everywhere. 9 times out of 10, Josie was gone with his daddy.
And that's and knowing this, having knowledge of this, didn't it seem odd to you that Don and Summer are supposed to be going somewhere? They're just them two alone when Josie was, like you said, the right hand of his dad.
Yeah, that kind of was suspicious on on that behalf because Summer never went nowhere. She was never allowed to go nowhere. Period. I never seen her go nowhere and say, "No." They wouldn't even let me keep her. That she was always with Candace. All the whole time she was born, she was with Candace. Don never took her nowhere. Didn't even take her to the store and back with him. Not.
No, that statement is contradicting to me because Allie and other people stated that Summer was Dawn's baby girl. Jody has stated, Summer was Dawn's baby girl. And Jody has stated that pretty much everybody has stated that Summer was Dawn's favorite. So I have a hard time believing this coming from Marlena. Just my opinion based off of the words of many people. But we'll continue.
On it.
Do you think that might have been because they were afraid that she might expose, some information about what was going on?
I do believe that, yes. And I do believe that the reason that maybe they have either sold her off or got rid of her or killed her or whatever's going around at this minute. I mean, the story's changed 20, 30 times, I think that she was going to tell, or they figured she was going to tell, or whatever. Maybe it was what her mom was doing that day with Hunter, or whatever. I really don't know. But Summer wasn't stupid. For far means Summer was not stupid at all. She was very intelligent. She was very smart. She knew capable of what was going on and what wasn't.
Did you ask your daughter where she slept the couple of nights, Tuesday and Wednesday night? Well, you dropped her off Tuesday, so Wednesday and Thursday night. Did she tell you where she slept?
She slept in the basement on the bunk beds on the bottom.
Okay, so they slept on the bunk beds. Did Summer sleep there as well?
No.
Okay. So
Summer slept in the bed between her mommy and her daddy, like she always did.
Oh, okay. And your daughter was sleeping on the bunk beds over there.
Yes.
Okay. And let me.
So you're having a sleepover with little girls. I would think they would sleep in the bunk beds together. But my next question would be, where were the boys sleeping? I think it's a good question. Some may take offense to it. But was Journey in that dark room alone instead of having Summer in there with her? I get it. Listen, my little girl would come into the bed with me and her dad. It was such a pain in the ass because she sleeps upside down and she throws her arms everywhere. It was horrible to sleep with her. So what I would end up doing is we always made pillow beds at the bottom of the bed for the kid. Throw a whole bunch. I used to keep like old couch pillows and the throw pillows, and I'd let the kids all pile up at the bottom of the bed in the room with us, and we would all sleep in the same room watching TV, falling asleep. Just something I did. There was nothing sexual about it. You know what I mean? But it gets a little creepy when you hear only Summer was in the bed. I have an issue with that. However, it is normal for a child to come and want to sleep with his parents, and then get used to it. I've seen it. My mother always slept with all of her kids. It's a little disturbing to me right now, but based off of things I've seen in life, now it's like with my grandkids, it's like, oh my God, no, we got to move the babies before we fall asleep. My grandkids right now come in my bed every night. They watch TV, they play their games, they lay in my bed, they fall asleep. There are some nights Earl and I will even just climb into bed. Usually he works at night, so I'll climb into bed with the grandkids, or Earl will be on one side, I'll be on the other, Nico and Mari in between. There's nothing abnormal about it. I don't want to hear that parents have never slept with their kids, but it's odd to me when you have a little girl sleeping over and you're leaving her in a dark, cold basement room and you have three boys in the home. Where were the boys sleeping and who was keeping watch on the boys? Are they upstairs? Because there's no supervision up there if everybody's in the basement. Do you get what I'm saying? That's more of my concern. The supervision. Where was everybody placed? I wouldn't leave three rough boys alone upstairs where nobody can see them. Just my opinion. I mean, downstairs. Yeah, I guess upstairs with the way that house is built. My house, what we used to do is we had the front rooms right here when my kids were growing up, and we would be able to hear them come down the hallway, come out their rooms, come down the basement doors. We did that for a reason so that we could see every child that tried to leave their room, if that makes sense. Oh, their mind always goes there. It does.
You see, last time she saw Summer was around Mother's Day. She
No, I saw Summer the Tuesday evening that they came and picked her up. That was the last day I seen her, and she went missing the following Tuesday. Was the last time I seen Summer alive and well.
when you was up there cooking for them, did they eat like they were super hungry?
They always ate.
So at the beginning of this, she said that they picked Journey up on Friday and that they were supposed to keep her for a week. Then she changes it. The last time she saw Summer was Tuesday. And they drop Journey off on Friday. Again, Summer goes missing 4 days later. So why does that make Journey significant? Why are we even questioning this little girl? She changed it to Saturday. Oh boy. I didn't know. I guess that goes on later in the interview. See, I don't like that. I don't like these changes in one interview. I found a lot of things she said in Lips's interview odd. I just want to finish this out before I have a whole assumption now. A whole opinion.
Like they were super hungry, like they were starved all the time.
Did you ever see Candace just giving them frozen pizzas?
Yes, a lot. And drinking gallons and gallons of chocolate milk. Nothing else but chocolate milk. They wasn't allowed when the chocolate milk was gone. They would scream for more chocolate milk. They wasn't allowed. And hundreds of off-brand soda pop. I mean, them kids, they went through some groceries in a day's time. Because when I kept them up there or whatever, watched them or helped her watch them, you know, I've never denied my kid any food. I've never denied my kid anything to drink, whatever. I always got it for them.
Did you?
I was going to.
So do you understand what she's saying? She's stating that there was always groceries in the house. Is it good to feed your kids dollar store shit all the time? Hell no. I mean, I'm not even going to say dollar store because we have a dollar store and we go up there, but we buy the cheese and the milk and the, things like that there, as well as sometimes the easy stuff for the kids. But we have regular dinners a couple times a week, or my daughter-in-law will cook, or we'll cook, or go get something that's of more substance. Yeah, because she was trying to say they dropped her off after church, but PG reminded her D goes to church on Saturday. Wow. See? The story's changed, but it has been 3.5 years. You have to keep that in mind. Maybe she's just mixing days up. She claims she was questioned by the police several times.
going to get jumped on or not.
Did you ever see? Did you ever by any chance see Candace messing around with? I mean, we know Jose from what Jose said. Candace, confided in him that she was the first one to, that she groomed and was the first one to sleep around with Hunter, which at that particular time was like a
No,
13-year-old boy.
she wasn't. Hunter wasn't the first boy that she slept with underage.
Oh, okay. Okay. So you do hold knowledge.
There was one more, but I'm not going to put his name out there because
Oh,
it ain't
no,
fair because
no.
he hasn't came to light.
Right. No. We don't, we ain't going to bring him into it.
So I talked about this in my earlier live. She already put the name out there on Lips. Lips already put the name out there. I'm not going to repeat it. I know who it was, but why deny saying it now when you already said it? So you're trying to take that back? What would be your reason for taking that back? And I don't think it's fair for you to come out and make these statements when that child and his parents who live on that road are not coming out to defend that or agree with it. You, Prayer Garden, again, are attacking somebody who was under the age of 18 when Summer went missing. Please stop spreading rumors. That pisses me off. Unless there's proof of it, because that would put Candace in jail. Okay? She also said Dee brought food home every day and they always ate out. Well, if Dawn was telling the truth about Marlena has a drug problem, she might have her days mixed up from when she dropped off. Yeah, and that's very true. And I read, if you didn't see my live from early this morning, I read some text messages between Dawn and myself about that. We had some conversations about some of the things Marlena spoke about at the beginning of the live, the first 45 minutes. So I had brought out what Dawn said to compare what they said to each other. It's worth the watch if you haven't seen it. Hi, Darlene. How are you? You have to watch Dollar General. Oh, yeah. Absolutely. And even Family Dollar, like I tell my kids, my husband and my daughter just went through this thing. They bought these nasty frozen Reuben bites, frozen sauerkraut from a box with, no, but both of them got really ill after eating it. So I tried to warn them. I don't believe Marlena. I don't think she had her daughter as much as she said she did. I agree with that, Terry. However, I do see pictures from before Summer went missing where there is a lot of loving pictures between Marlena and her daughter. And I do believe when she says that there has been 54 CPS calls. However, it bothers me that she states they started 6 months prior and she blamed Candace for doing it. Allie had made that same claim. I talked about that in my live this morning as well. I think PG and Marlena had a long talk. Oh, they've probably been, that's something I talked about earlier too. I feel like Prayer Garden possibly has family connections to Ben Hill or Light Hauler or somewhere in that area and connections here. So that's my opinion. If you've been following me, you know why. Yes. Of course, all behind the scenes. Oh, for sure. I mean, Prayer Garden gets all the first interviews from all the people that won't come out for years or the ones from 40 years ago. She knows everybody. How does she just magically know these people? And why does nobody question that? And that's something with Ziggy, too. It's the both of them. Clover Valley Chucky chocolate chip cookies are awesome. Well, I'll be down there in May. I'll have to look it up and check it out and see where I get them. Even though I'm a diabetic, I'll try them just because you said that. Thanks, Moonshine Girl. Andy said, hi. Hi. That was my thought. Yeah. All right, guys. Let's continue.
I know the one you're talking about, and yeah, he don't need that.
No,
Um,
because his life is going pretty well, and I don't want to bring that kind of heat on him.
and let me see.
I don't want nobody to go through what I've been through since this case has started.
Oh, I can see you.
I actually think they got them at the Dollar General cookies. The cookies are at Dollar General. Okay, we'll definitely have to try them out.
Justin, I can see you. God bless. Good to see you, my brother. God bless. Um, let me see if I'm. Was your daughter the one?
Can you guys chat and listen for a minute? I really gotta pee. I'm gonna run to the bathroom real quick. If I hear anything, I'll come back and go back. If you want me to, just tell me, yo, go back. But I think you guys got it handled, and I'll pick up right when I get back. Give me like 3 minutes. Enough time to pee and wash my hands.
Josie called his girlfriend.
Yes.
Josie called your daughter his girlfriend.
Yes.
Now, did Don take Josie out of Tennessee because of your daughter? Is that why they hid out in Utah for a while?
No, because at that time, we wasn't even talking to them. When Summer went missing and everything got turned on me, I took me and my daughter out of the situation, and we kind of went off on our own. And I didn't talk to Summer, or I didn't talk to Summer's mama or her daddy at all.
Um, when he this was like about 8 months before Summer. About 8 months before Summer came up missing.
No,
They were
I didn't get back into Candace and them's lives until Mother's Day weekend.
okay of 2021.
Yeah, that was the first time I
Okay,
had went to their house in like almost 2.5 years or 3.
okay. So you were kind of out of their life forever and a day until right there before Summer came up missing.
Yep.
Around so
Candace
you
had
showed
called me. Candace had texted me or called me out of the blue. No, it was my birthday. It was getting close to my birthday, and she had texted me a happy early birthday. And she said, "What are you doing?" I said, "Nothing." And she said, "Well, why don't you come over and let the kids play and hang out?" Which I went that day. That's when
okay.
CPS showed up and all that, and I ended up washing all the clothes and hanging them up and cleaning house and washing dishes and all that stuff.
And Summer's hair was already all cut off at that time.
Yeah, and I asked her why it was cut off, and she said, "These kids keep lice and they bring it in from school, and it's just best to keep them short, just like the boys."
And PG, does she know the reason Don left to Utah with his son? Did Candace
No, I
ever
do not.
know that? Okay, you do not know. Okay, I appreciate you answering these questions for everybody because they seem to have so many. Um, she said that she did not have anything to do with the wells in 2019 and 2020, actually 2018, 19, and 20. That or she went back around Mother's Day
I
of
think she maybe
2021.
seen I think she's seen my kid maybe 1 or 2 times in 2015 maybe, and that was just us running into each other at the grocery store or whatever, or her maybe, a couple times after that, like, over the years or whatever. We might have bumped into each other maybe 1 or 2 times within that year, but other than that, we never went down there to stay, hang out, nothing like that, except for that Mother's Day weekend at that time.
Okay, okay. Um,
Because it's always a weird vibe up there. It was weird all the time, like, Candace was worried about me being there sometimes because if Don comes in, you got to go this and that because he don't like anybody being around and blah blah blah. And it was always an excuse. So I just stopped going around after a while.
right. Um,
Now I know why, because if he's done all this and he's abused these kids and done this stuff in Arkansas and wherever else, now I understand why, because they didn't want me or somebody like me to figure that out and to turn them in, because I would
right,
have to protect them children. I would have,
right. And you know what? I don't blame you. I don't blame you
because
whatsoever.
kids are innocent. They didn't deserve this. None of them deserve this. Not even my
No,
kid deserved this. I didn't
no,
deserve I didn't deserve what I'm going through now with this case and people running my name in the mud and all that. I didn't deserve this.
right,
And then they run my dead member's family name in the ground and all that. I don't deserve that, man. I never did.
right, right. No, you didn't. No, you didn't. Like I said, you were a victim to all of.
I believe her. I believe her when she says when Dawn wasn't there, he tried to kick me off the property, and that's based off my live earlier in the text messages. It's very clear that Dawn had an issue with Marlena being up on the property. There had to be a reason for that. Dawn told me it was that Marlena would just drop Journey off and take off for days. Like I said earlier, watch it. I also want to reply to, is it true Josie called your daughter his girlfriend? Her daughter was 9. Josie was almost 14. My follow-up question to that would be, why did you allow that? That's promoting it. Okay.
Of this, and they made sure that you have stayed a victim
Hey, PG,
in all of this.
let me make something clear. So all of you all, prayer soldiers, warriors, or whatever they
Summer's
are,
Army.
for
Summer's
summer,
Army.
Summer's Army, yes.
Yeah.
I'm gonna put it out here like this. This message goes straight to Don Wells. If anybody wants to tell him, I don't care. You better quit circling around where my mother lives. You better
Absolutely.
leave my mother alone. You better leave me alone. Whoever's fathering me and keeping tabs on me, please come into the light. Come out wherever you are, because I can handle myself. I don't need my brothers. I don't need my sisters. I don't need anybody like that.
I don't like this. Just like I don't like it with any of the neighbors. If Dawn's circling and you care about Summer, you should stop and be willing to help at any cost, to talk to him and find his daughter. That tells me that Dawn's not guilty. That tells me he's looking. I've always said that. Yeah, Josie's nearly old enough. Well, he's definitely old enough to talk. So Jay, yeah, 2 or 3. She's 8 or 9. She was 8 or 9 at the time that Summer went missing. That's what, like, the story Marlena told in the first part of this we watched. It was, I was going to adopt the youngest boy. Well, him and Journey are closer in age than him and Summer, so it doesn't make sense to me. Y'all would have been pregnant about that. The story doesn't make sense to me. Hey, Crystal, been on TV. Hey, Glenview. Nice to see you tonight, honey. All right. We're already an hour and 21 in. Holy cow.
I can
Oh,
handle myself. Trust me. I am a Beach Creek girl. I can handle myself. I was raised with 7 boys. I can handle myself. I'm not scared of you all. I'm not scared of no one, period, no shape, fashion, or form. Only man
Amen.
I fear, but only man I fear is on this is God himself, is the only man I ever fear.
Amen. Hey, girl.
And people say that I'm out here and I'm strung out and I got drug problems and this and that. Yes, I did have a problem with opiates for a while. Yes, I did, because
I addressed this part a little bit earlier because I did see some of this. I must have watched more than I thought I did. But I agree with this part. I'm proud of her for her sobriety. I think she sounds sober. I think that's amazing. I like that she can come out and admit that she had a problem. I believe this is the part maybe she comes out and talks about CPS. Maybe I went over that. I can't remember. But I do appreciate that she comes out and says that. And anybody should be able to stick up for themselves. However, the attitude when you're out here for Summer threatening the parent bothers me. I feel like any neighbor should want to talk to the Wills to prove their innocence or to help them with the finding of their child. That's always bothered me about all the neighbors that come out. All of them. Fred, Jody, all of them. The only one that didn't act like that, and you guys are going to be surprised by my answer, but is the one that walked Brandon Clark, that walked JLR through the woods. He was like, hey, if a little girl needs found, they can come look, they this, they that. That's how he was acting that day. Now, was he like that when the police were there? We don't know. Oh, hi, Tic Tac. I didn't see you sneak in. These people sound kind of like PG, Remain Calm, and Andrew Hiltz. Yeah. I went over a short video of Andrew this morning, too, at the beginning of my live. Hey, Tic Tac, how you doing? What about if they're the guilty ones? What do you mean? If who's the guilty ones? Yeah, smear campaign. Everybody loves innocent. Not everybody. Most people. As long as she's not Tim Mullen. I'm kidding. I'm kidding. And doesn't share laughy faces. Yeah, what if they're not? The parents. What if the parents are guilty? Well, then they deserve to go to prison, don't you think? I think there's a very high probability that they are guilty of something. Do we know that for sure? No. But I also think there's a probability they're innocent too, just based on the fact that we're 3.5 years in and they haven't been arrested. And the claims like Dawn going and searching around the area still all these years later for his daughter. Which cat is that? Why? Because you're not petting her?
Yeah.
Can you take her downstairs, please? I'm live. I don't want her meow meow. Go give her to her mother. To her, Angela, my daughter-in-law. You are not the least favorite. I am innocent. Don't you know that? Oh, Susan came in. If Dawn and Candace were so bad, why leave your daughter with them? Yeah, we're going to get to that before this live is over. And like I said, this is going to take a few days, a week. And I addressed earlier, I got a lot of little videos I want to eventually cut up out of this, but you guys know. We'll see when I get there. Did y'all catch that she said AB, Betty Sue, Fred, and Fred's dad should tell what happened? Oh, yeah. I heard that. Absolutely heard that. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah, it's between us. True crime's most hated YouTubers. I can live with it. I love you all. No, most. Some. I'll tell you when we have answers for Summer, who I love.
I had my youngin. They stuck me 9 times in the back. They did nerve damage on my legs and my feet. Yes, I did find something for the pain. Yes, because the doctors wouldn't describe it to me. Yes, I did. But you know what? My daddy died. I sobered up. I got clean. I've been clean for a very, very long time. And I'm proud of myself. I'm very, very proud of
Oh,
myself.
girl, and you know what? We're proud of you too. We're proud of you too.
And I
And I'm
try to
gonna
take
tell
one
you,
day
you've
at a
come so
time.
far. You've come so
I,
far. God bless.
I do. And it's just a thing of thanks from God up above. And right now I'm having some trials and tribulations. And I do thank everybody out there that has cash at me any money or supporting me with some money. I greatly appreciate it because you do not know how much.
I addressed my feelings on the Cash App and all that earlier in the first live. So to save some time, I'm just going to let this play through. You guys can put your thoughts in the comments, keep them nice. I know a lot of people don't like this. I don't like it. But I addressed it in my first live and I'm not going to address it again. I don't think it's worth giving tragedy pimping the breath, in my opinion. And we got to get through to more important things. So
Right now, that helps me out.
Amen. Absolutely. And
Because I've been sleeping in a car because I have to move from place to place because I'm afraid of where I'm falling asleep at or whatever's happening. I do drive a V8 vehicle. It does suck a lot of gas. And you know what? I'm trying to keep myself safe. And I know that my youngin is safe because she's well protected where she's at. So I know that nobody's going to mess with her. But when it comes to my mom and my family, that's when you cross the line way too far and way too soon because my kid is my bloodline and blood is thicker than water. And I will be there with bells on. And please don't ever tell anybody to go get their mama because I'm coming and I'm coming alone most of the time.
amen.
I don't need
Amen.
family and I don't need the cops. I'm telling you, I will get you when you least expect it and I will call you out right there in front of God and everybody because I don't care. I'm to that
Absolutely.
point that I'm being pushed to where I should care, but I don't care anymore because this is getting ridiculous. People on here, out there slandering my name, slandering my daddy's name. He's dead and gone. Let him rest in peace. I
Amen.
mean, you know, Summer, this is about Summer. People that don't know what went on up there, people that don't know what's going on with the case, and people just out here running their mouth, they need to keep it shut because it ain't about them and getting attention and throwing the blame. The focus should be on Summer Wells, period.
Absolutely. And Don and Candace need to stop They need to stop with, putting
Don
innocent people
Candace,
under a bus.
yeah,
If it wasn't for their, this is my opinion, but if it wasn't for, whatever evil shit they had that they were doing and had going on up there on that hill, they would not
look,
have
I don't.
had to destroy their own daughter in the fashion they did. I
Okay,
truly
let's just put it
believe
this
that.
way. I don't care whose religion or Christian or whatever you practice. I don't hold that against anybody because everybody practices. Some people practice witchcraft. Some people practice, Christianity. Some people, atheists and Methodists and this and that or whatever. I don't know, but you know what? I don't think you should sacrifice any kid for nothing. I don't think you should do that
Absolutely
any
not.
type of way for nothing because that is God's angels. Them are brought here on earth for a reason. And Candace and Dawn needs to man up and tell what went on so this little girl could be resting in peace instead of everybody out here trying to figure out what happened to her, what didn't happen to her, and all this other stuff. They need to man up and tell the friggin' true story. Period. They need
You
to come
know,
from. They need to come up front with everything that they need to come up front with, or
and
that's even including Mr. Hill, Mr. Frank Hill, Frank, whatever they want to call
Fred,
him.
Fred.
Well, Frank is his daddy, but Fred Hill, and all them, they need to man up and tell what happens because this little girl didn't do anything to deserve this.
Oh,
And
absolutely not.
that's like Ziggy. She don't need to run her.
Ron is his daddy. They're your family. This attitude is not very pleasing. When you're covering a child's case, I agree with you. Somebody needs to speak up. 100%. However, we'll leave it at that.
Her mouth about me when she does nothing about me, period. And Fred, he's yeah, don't even get me started on Fred. But that's just my opinion because me and Fred's had a few beefs here and there. And Fred, if Fred knows, and I know that he watches your podcast, I know that he watches this YouTube channel.
Oh,
Fred,
absolutely.
Fred Hill, if you're in this podcast or whatever and you're listening, man up, man up. You're coming from where I come from. You know good as well that kids don't go missing down there. Man up, tell the truth. Nobody's going to look at you any different. Maybe they'll look at you in a better light because you did tell the truth. Be called a snitch, whatever you want to be called. This little girl needs justice. And
I,
Andy B,
I,
if he knows something too, he's not even from down there originally. So you know
um,
what? Therefore, he needs to man up and tell the truth.
Amen. Amen. Australia. Yes. Marlena has a cash app. All the mods are putting it out in the chat. She does have a cash app. If you're coming in here and you would like to support this channel, please, instead of supporting the channel tonight, please, 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 give it to Marlena's.
I haven't checked. That's what I was going to ask. Did Fred and Ziggy respond to this? Ziggy did a really strange live the other day where she was walking down the street. I don't know. I have to go check. I haven't checked on her in a couple days. Maybe they're going to jail. That would be good. In my opinion. I'm speculating. I don't know. I'm waiting.
Cash app. She does not have a PayPal. She does have a cash app for everyone who can help, and it is much, much, much appreciated. If you can help out, God bless. God bless each and every one that's helping out tonight. Absolutely.
I just don't understand why people are trying to keep it so secret. If it's Dawn and Candace that done that, and there's people that is around down there that knows that they done it, man up, man up, man up. It's time to man up. It's been 4 years almost. It's time to man up. It's time to give this little girl the peace that she needs. And everybody that's been in this case that has been drugged down, they need peace.
Absolutely. Oh, don't cry, girl. Don't cry. I'm going to tell you, she is Summer's Army. She is one of Summer's Army. Marlena wants Summer found. She wants Summer brought home.
That was
Marlena,
my little girl's best friend, man. She
Marlena,
lost two best friends within not even months of each other. Because if most people have heard around here, that little boy that killed his grandmother and that little boy hit him with a hammer and all that. My kid went through some trials at this time. She lost her Uncle Boo. She lost her, which is
This is sad. If it's true. And I'm not going to make a statement on it because that's sad for any kid. And it feels like this little girl has already been through many traumas in her life. And I would like to thank Lips and, in my opinion, Linda for making those traumas worse. I addressed that earlier. So I'm just going to let this play out. I have no more to say about it. I really am sickened by the way some people would traumatize a child that lost her friend and grandparent and other things, as you hear her mother claim.
Taylor, the boy that they found drowned. They found him. They found the little boy that went to school with her, Summer, her grandmother, um,
Grandpa.
her grandpa died. I lost her because of all this. I mean, my little girl has been through the mud, and you know what? My little girl still puts a smile on her face every day.
Oh, God bless. God bless. And Marlena's going through so much. She's going through so much right now, you guys. And her daughter is going through a lot as well. Over, they have lost so many people in their lives over this, over this short period of 4 years. They have lost so many people. And Marlena wants closure for Summer. She wants her daughter, just like, we want the Wells boys to be able to go, to go to. I do not believe Summer is no longer with us. I do not believe she is any longer with.
I have not heard that her and Dawn did anything, but watch my live from earlier today. Yes, Dawn claimed she stole. It's in the text messages between us. Possibly. I love you too. Have a good night. Thank you. So many deaths surrounding Marlena and her brothers. The one that worries me the most is the one that happened the very morning after Summer went missing.
With us. And I do not believe this because Candace and Don Wells and Grandis, they've all let us know. Jody Sue, she's in the chat right now. Jody Sue has let us know
there is
that
no
Summer's
such
not
thing
with
as
us.
cornbread mafia either. There is not a such thing as a cornbread mafia. I don't know where that got started, but there is no such thing as cornbread mafia. Now there is cartel, and I know a couple people in cartel. They wouldn't have done this. I mean,
I have to go to court and I have some things going on from my YouTube page. I cannot address these cartel statements at this moment. Do I know that they're true? No. Do I believe a cartel would do something like this? Oh, absolutely. Have you heard about the cars they take from the desert of families? There was a case, probably 15 years ago, a whole family. I think that's a stupid statement for Marlena to make, and it tells you that she knows them people because she just told you she knows them, and it's troublesome. But I'm going to leave that at that, and that's all I can say about it at this moment. I'm sorry. I have court coming up, and my channel's in danger. My life could be in danger if I addressed that. I hope you guys will understand. I will be ignoring those statements for personal reasons.
I mean, yeah, Theoda, I mean, he was running and going to Knoxville and getting drugs all the time. I mean, if she is not dead, she probably wishes she was. I just like for my little girl to know that, she's got if she is gone or no longer with us, I would like for them to know that she's got a little gravesite so that my daughter can go visit like she does her papa and her mama and her Uncle Boo and this and that. It would bring my daughter a lot of peace that she could go and visit her friend.
Exactly. It'll bring her a lot of peace to know what happened to Summer, to bring her peace to know she's been found and that, she's in heaven forever. And there's a place for her, to be seen and to put flowers on, as you said, and to be able to just stand there and, people need closure. I'm sure the Wells boys would love to, to be able to go to a gravesite and put flowers and tell their sister how much they love her and they care about her. And they're going to see her again one day. And, I'm sure that would bring a lot of peace and comfort to their hearts. And also it would bring a lot of peace and comfort to their hearts, knowing they had nothing to do with what happened to this little girl.
And, I go by that church every day on a daily basis, and I stop and I put ribbons on that tree on a daily basis. Every time that I'm down that way, I will put a ribbon on that tree as much as I can, because you know what? When my daughter's not with me, she's even attended that church with Summer Wells. She's went to church with her several times. She's even went to Bible school with her. I mean, my daughter was the only girl that was close enough to be her best friend and her only friend, except for her brothers.
Right. Right.
And, when Summer went missing and stuff, it devastated her. And then, she started losing family members. That started devastating her. And, I don't see how, I mean, she's tough like me. I don't hardly ever break and cry. I don't. Unless I'm mad or I'm really depressed or something, then I might break and cry every now and then. But not anybody and everybody has heard me cry. And that, for me to get on here and break and cry, I really mean what I said. Fred Hill, Mary Sue, whatever her name is, and Betty Sue, whatever. Anybody down there that was any down there that knew anything, please absolutely come forward and come clean about it. Don't matter who gets mad, who don't. Give this little girl the justice that she needs and the peace that she needs.
Andy Bernard, you say it doesn't lay on you what happened to Summer Wells. I think it does. I think it does, because if it wasn't laying on you, you wouldn't be out here, along with Jody Sue. You guys
How
wouldn't
did
be out
know?
here
How did
needing to
know? Wait a
know
minute, Miss PG. How did he know that? How did he know that that person or whoever was at the graveyard and that truck and all that? They were all together as
a place for her, to be seen and to put flowers on, as you said, and to be able to just stand there
yeah.
and people need closure. I'm sure the Wells boys would love to, to be able to go to a gravesite and put flowers and
Sorry, I was distracted texting someone, so I went back a couple minutes, innocent, so we can re-listen.
tell their sister how much they love her and they care about her, and they're going to see her again one day. And I'm sure that would bring a lot of peace and comfort to their hearts, and also it would bring a lot of peace and comfort to their hearts knowing they had nothing to do with what happened to this little girl.
And I go by that church every day on a daily basis, and I stop and I put ribbons on that tree on a daily basis. Every time that I'm down that way, I will put a ribbon on that tree as much as I can, because you know what? When my daughter's not with me, she's even attended that church with Summer Wells. She's went to church with her several times. She's even went to Bible school with her. I mean, my daughter was the only girl that was close enough to be her best friend and her only friend, except for her brothers.
Right.
That's not true. We know that she hung out with little David. That's not true. Is that Andy B? I don't think that's Andy B in my chat. That's not his screen name. But thank you for being here, Andy said. She puts a ribbon on a tree every day. Well, I could tell you she hasn't lived in the area every day since Summer went missing, so. Okay.
Right.
And when Summer went missing and stuff, it devastated her. And then she started losing family members. That started devastating her. And I don't see how. I mean, she's tough like me. I don't hardly ever break and cry. I don't, unless I'm mad or I'm really depressed or something. Then I might break and cry every now and then. But not anybody and everybody has heard me cry. And that for me to get on here and break and cry, I really mean what I said. Fred Hill, Mary Sue, whatever her name is, and Betty Sue, whatever. Anybody down there that was any down there that knew anything, please absolutely come forward and come clean about it. Don't matter who gets mad, who don't. Give this.
She knows who Jody, Sue, and Andy is. Hold on, guys. She knows exactly who they are. She told me she does. Hold on.
This little girl the justice that she needs and the peace that she needs.
Andy Bernard, you say it doesn't lay on you what happened to Summer Wells. I think it does.
Sorry, guys. I was an old friend calling. I am distracted. I apologize.
Does. I think it does, because if it wasn't laying on you, you wouldn't be out here, along with Jody Sue. You guys wouldn't be out here needing to know.
Wait a minute, Miss PG. How did he know that? How did he know that that person or whoever was at the graveyard and that truck and all that? They were all together as a clan.
Exactly.
Him and Fred Hill and Cotton and Chad Arnold, and all of them was together on the same exact fucking day. Now come on, don't.
So she's saying Cotton was with them on the same day. And she also refers to them many times during this as a clan. I'm curious about that.
Don't sit here and tell me that Andy doesn't know something. Andy knows something. So does his wife. So does Kinda. So does Dawn. So does Chad. So does Cotton did. That's why Cotton lost his wife.
Amen. He did. And I'm going to tell you, Andy, listen, Andy. I'm going to tell you right now.
If I ever find out that Andy he's in there listening, and I know he is.
He's in the chat right now, girl. He's in the chat right now.
If I ever find out that he gave Dawn something to put my kid to sleep for Dawn to mess with him, man, you're going to have a bad day, and I'm coming for you. And I'm calling you
Yeah.
out right now. I am coming for you if I ever find out that you sold Dawn any kind of medicine whatsoever to knock my kid out. And if his old lady knew that he was doing this, why didn't she come clean? For one. For two, I
Right.
know that when you're married with somebody, I know I've protected my kid's dad a lot, and I've lied and I've covered up a bunch of stuff for my kid's dad to keep him from getting in more in trouble. But you know, when it comes to a kid, I would never do that because that kid right there was innocent. She should have opened her mouth as soon as she knew something. She should have turned his ass in and fucking put him in prison for the rest of his life for that shit.
Right.
Period. And I'm going to tell it like I see it because I do. And PG, you know, ever since you've been talking to me, I've told you straight up and how I feel about it and how I don't feel about certain things. And I'm straightforward and about as straightforward as it.
What I wanted to say before was she definitely knew Jody Sue. She told me she knew Jody Sue, and she also told me in text messages, and I'll show them, that Andy B was the dealer for Dawn and Candace. I'd have to look at it to see the exact wording, so I don't want to put anything wrong. Yeah, Clan was spoken a lot. Okay.
You ever get. But if I ever find out that Andy gave my kid something or Dawn to give my kid something to put her out so he can mess with her, I'm coming for you. I don't care. You better call the whole Beach Creek clan because remember, boy, I was raised down there. I was raised down there and I got so many in my back pocket and you will never see me coming.
Oh, Jody.
Amen.
The best thing he better do is run and hide. He better run and scare. He better tuck his tail and he better run. Because I still got some people down there. I've got people that will do anything for me because who I am and what I stand for and who my daddy was.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And you're right.
That's an interesting comment. Here we go. She's begging Andy. If you see this one or PG's friends at the cemetery, etc., call Pruitt or feds. Andy, it's deeper. Please listen. I don't want to make any comments on what Jody Sue says, only because I didn't listen to Jody Sue's live yet, and I want to do that as well. I want to mix this up a little bit. I might have to do that soon, especially if Marlena keeps going on Prayer Gardens.
You're right. I'm going to tell you, as your dad, when people do little bull crap stuff, it's easy to overlook, of course, you ain't going to, give up or talk to the law. You don't have to talk to the law if you don't want to about people's little bull crap stuff. But when people do something super sinister, as in destroying a 5-year-old little girl, an innocent 5-year-old little baby, or was sitting around, and the reason this child was destroyed.
It makes him one sick effort in the friggin' head to even give Dawn the medication that she said that she
Candace,
wasn't
not Dawn, Candace.
Oh,
It
Candace.
was
Well,
given, it was given to Candace.
whoever distribute that medication to whoever, that's one sick individual. You need to be put away to where you can never be out. You know what I think about child molesters and people that do that? They should be put on the front line of the friggin' army over here. When we go to war, they should be the first ones out the friggin' box to be blowed their friggin' head off because they ain't worth nothing. Somebody that's going to do that and rape innocent children and rape women, they shouldn't be even breathing. That's what I feel. That's exactly what I feel.
I agree with that.
Because them people right there is no help for because they can't. It don't matter how much medication they put them on or whatever. One slip and they're back doing the same old thing back over and over again. It's like giving a drug addict. If you let them around people that does drugs and then they see that stuff, they're gonna slip back off in and do that stuff. Period. You just don't. And why didn't she come forward and tell people that? That really makes me uncomfortable because my kid was there.
Right.
And you know what? That was my youngin'. That wasn't Candace and them's youngin'. That ain't something that they could play with. They can't play with other people's children like that.
Oh, they did, but they did.
Oh, I know, but they did. And you know what?
Your kid was there. Where were you? How often? When? What day that this happened? A couple of these responses are a little bit concerning, especially when you tell me that you knew Andy B was selling them stuff way before Jody Sue even said that. Just an opinion.
They better stay clear of me because I'm not on the right firing fuse. Let's put it that way. And if I ever cross them and know that I crossed them, and I get to thinking about that, Lord mercy, they better get ready to meet him because they better be right with him because they're going to meet him. Because that's my youngin'. You're playing with my youngin's life. You're playing with my youngin's respect, out of purity or whatever it is. It's pure, them being pure because that's something that when you have sex with somebody, you turn into not being pure anymore. You mix your demons with theirs. So that's messing with their being pure and being an angel and being their own life. They shouldn't have to go through that whatsoever.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
No kid should be put through that, no matter what. They shouldn't be beat on. I mean, my kid is 11 years old, and the hardest spanking she's had was popped on a diaper. That's the hardest she's ever been, and that was because I was teaching her no. And then after that, she has learned that I could speak a certain tone, like, when we was all raised up, your mama snapped her fingers at you or gave you that look, you knew better to sit down and shut up, or you was going to get what was coming. And that's the way I taught my youngin, because that's the way my daddy taught me. I can look at my daughter a certain way or use a certain tone, and my daughter knows that's enough.
They want me to ask you, how long was it after Summer went missing? Like a couple of days, week, a month, before Donald came around and told your dad, that about.
I do remember Allison saying that, but I don't know that there's ever been any proof that happened. And Drew said it. Yeah, actually, I think Drew was the first one that said it. Andy said, I didn't say they were. Glenview, interesting question. Mixed demons, absolutely, Moonshine. Andy said no proof.
About sacrificing Summer for his sins.
Within 4 days.
It was within 4 days. Oh, wow. Okay, thank you. And I'm going to play that 911 call for you so you can hear that, Marlena, since you haven't heard it, okay?
Okay. And I had to tell her to call 911, right?
So I'm going to be ending in about 10 minutes here. I might come back tonight. I got to call my friend back. I did want to make a couple videos. I might come back later tonight. I like to keep my live at 2 hours, at least do a couple hours in between. I can hear my grandson downstairs screaming. So we'll listen for about 10 more minutes, and then maybe I'll be back in a couple hours or very early in the morning.
She wasn't going to report her missing to begin with, right?
Right. This is the 911 call when Summer was hollering, screaming for the help. That Jose had. The whole 911 call was because Jose seen some things in the shower that he.
Now Jose's dead too now, right?
Yes. As soon as they figured out where he was, he ended up dead. Yes.
See, so Jose died. So did Cotton. Cotton got disposed of too.
Cotton died.
I don't care.
Cotton died. Jose died. Allison died. Leslie died. Another lady died as well that was trying to save a little girl, trying to take it to his grandmother.
So there's not many of us that knows the inside story that's still alive, right?
Yeah, pretty much so. Pretty much so. So you're when you say you want, you're.
Speaking of churches, when I was going through my text messages, Dawn and I had an interesting conversation. I believe it was Elaine Smith had wrote me because Dawn had some nasty pictures of women on his new group when he got out of prison, and she wanted them taken down. So I was showing him those and all this stuff. And when we started our conversation, Elaine had told me, I don't know where she heard it. I'm going to have to write her and ask her, but that there was a woman in a church that got beaten in the head or something. And I'm very curious who they're talking about, but Dawn had left me some text messages about that. So when we're all done with all this, if you guys could remind me to go through my text messages again, my messages with Dawn, and see what it is I'm able to share at the moment. Just please don't let me forget, because I think it's really important, and I don't want to share my whole conversation with Dawn at one time. There's a reason for that. I've kept Dawn and Candace off my channel because they're the parents of said missing kid, and I don't want to bring more drama and chaos to them if I don't have to. But it's hard not to when we're covering this case. And I do think that we need to read that portion of the text messages that Dawn sent me. You remember that? Because I only heard it from Elaine, and I didn't hear nothing else about it. I don't even know the situation except for what Dawn had said, and it seems pretty insane. Okay.
You're having to move and watching yourself. Yeah, we know you do. We know you do. We understand that. Listen to this 911 call. Hold on. That's the wrong one. That's the wrong one. I have to grab the other one.
Well, What the hell was that? Some playing shit backwards. Just saying.
Okay, that was a piece of the 911 call when we was trying to figure out what exactly was being said. Did you hear Summer screaming for her mom at first?
You know what? They sound like they are tore plumb about their frame.
Did you
by
hear?
me meaning that is they are drunk, twisted, something, and whatever was happening there, whatever, and she's hollering, "Help me!" Candace sounded like she was about 4 sheets to the wind.
Oh, absolutely. And Jose said that Don had Summer. He went through. Don had Summer in the shower doing some, what Jose, didn't want to go into real detail, but some shit that he didn't think should be going on. He got Summer's tail. He told Candace, "You go in there and get her, or I'm going to go get her." And he wasn't kidding. He was going to get Summer out of the shower if Candace didn't. So Candace went in and took Summer out.
What was the date of this 911 call? Does anybody know? Jose did say that. I never put the 911 call with that, though. I'd have to see the dates. Interesting.
Out of the shower, and Don flipped the hell out and started attacking everybody and going stupid and still trying to go at.
Probably drunk. Because
He was
Dawn was probably drunk.
He was still trying to go at Summer. I believe that if law enforcement would have taken Summer to, had CPS show up and they'd have took her to the hospital for a healthcare check, I believe Don Wells would have been in prison, if you ask me, because I think that the wrong type of DNA would have been found and he probably would be in jail right now.
Per Gordon, do you think the police didn't respond to that call? Especially to that call with a little girl in the background saying, "Help me, help me." I'm going to bet the police responded to that call and did what they needed to, and there wasn't an arrest that night. There has to be a reason for that. I would like to know more details behind the fight that night. Did it include Jose? Was the dates? I have to look at the date of this. It was back in October of 2020. I thought I seen it was too. I think it's very possible Jose was there. Could this be the night that Jose was stopping Summer from being in the shower with Dawn? Why wouldn't he say there was a 911 call? That's interesting. Oh no, Jose did say it. I have it clipped. Interesting.
They took Jose and ran him off out of there after this. Grandma did. Grandma, actually, like, she brought your little girl home. She took Jose over into another state and got.
No, there was another fight and another 911 call on another day where Grandis was kicked in the knee. Candace was shoved. A beer bottle was thrown. They spoke in depth about it. The best interview about it, I think, was on Jays for Justice. But Cher has talked about it many times. This is a whole separate 911 call per garden. Please quit telling your subs that it's the same thing. It's a different night.
Got rid of him after this, and Candace dropped all the charges for a brand new vehicle to keep her mouth shut, and she got a brand new vehicle out of everything and continued to let Don shower and do whatever he wanted with her daughter, Summer Moon Utah Wells. Candace very much
Absolutely.
knew.
Absolutely, I have to agree.
Candace very much knew what was going on up on Ben Hill Road. Candace, was very much, she was very much aware of everything.
You're
And
right.
according to Jody Sue,
I'll have to
Andy
look.
Bernard was going over there selling the stuff to Candace to sedate these little girls so that they could be touched.
And that brings us back to the conclusion
Candace
that
was the one.
you know
Candace
what?
was the one getting the stuff for
Stupid.
these little girls to be touched. And to my understanding,
Okay. I'm pretty sure this is going to get into Jody Sue, and we're almost 2 hours into it. So I'm going to end here. That gives me my 2 hour mark. Exactly. And it's only 10 o'clock. I'm going to bet I'm going to be up for a while. I'll probably be back about 1 or 2 if anybody's up and wants to join me, because I do want to get through this. We have another live to go through. I still have Jody Sue to go through, and I have to go see if Ziggy and Fred respond. That would be extremely interesting. I want to listen to some music a little bit. Yeah, there was another 911 call on the 14th. That's not the same 911 call. And this one came out years later. That's crazy to me. The Prayer Garden's even trying to push it like it's the same call and on the same night. That's why I think it's interesting to find a date of that. I'm going to see if I have it. If not, I'm going to look for it. But all right, guys, peace and love. I'll see you guys probably about 1, somewhere between 12 and 2. All right? So that we can get through another at least hour of this. If I could get 3 hours done in one day, we're making progress. All right, guys. I'll see you later tonight. Bye.